Nature already came up with a meal replacement shake. In the last few months, I tried first the ones on the market, Huel, and then I tried to come up with one of my own. Why? Mostly because of time, and also I wanted to create a better adherence to a good diet. Now, as of yesterday, as I lay in bed, I realized that nature actually had basically not exactly the same problem, but was faced with a similar challenge. How do you feed an individual and basically from another individual? So, of course, there are several versions to this. The one would be to have kind of a printer built into one of the individuals. And this printer would basically create the ideal food for the other individual, which also creates an informational exchange challenge. So basically you would have to have some contact point or just base it on visual, on audio information, etc. in order to exchange the information what is actually needed at a specific point in time. Now, wouldn't it be ridiculous, for example, if you had basically a 3D food printer, which would print out basically solid versions of the food the actually other individual would need to eat. Maybe because the other individual is not capable yet of getting their own food. So then the solution nature came up with is, instead of making solid food, which would maybe be a little bit of a challenge also to transfer, then all of the food and the nutrients to the other person. How do you transfer it if the other person is not even maybe capable of chewing yet? And the solution nature came up with is basically to have kind of a duck and to, instead of 3D printing the best food out of the food, the original individual, let's call the original individual the mother, and the other one the child or the baby or the newborn. And the solution nature came up with is to, instead of printing food, it liquidized the food, you could say. And basically the transfer then is a meal shake. It's the ideal meal shake because there is also, I think, an informational exchange of what the baby actually needs at a given point in time, and therefore the milk also seems to adapt. So basically nature was faced with a very similar challenge. And just think about how weird it would have been if women would be able to 3D print food for babies, but instead they basically 3D print a meal shake which is customized completely to babies.